Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the determined decorator herself, Sandy Reevy.
Oh, you just made that one up.
It is episode...
Hi, everybody.
It is episode 328, week of November 4th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off with today, Monday the 4th, Sun, trine, Saturn retrograde.
The Switcheroo.
And Saturday, November 9th, Venus square Neptune retrograde.
Jupiter, where are you? Help!
And that is a very short week that we have to discuss. But in our house, I have a huge announcement that I want to share with everybody. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one, you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river, wash yourself clean so you can deliver you.
Hello, determined decorator.
Yeah, I'm here at my friend Zeffie's house in Agana Island, Greece, and she had just moved into this new house. She combined two houses, one from her mother's house and, her house in Sedona when she moved a couple of years ago. So there's all this furniture and all these things, you can imagine. Mm-hmm. And when she moved into her house, she just kind of put everything in all the rooms, right? And so now that we have time and there's a couple of us here, we've decided this whole week that each morning we're going to take a room. So you know how you decorate a room, you have to move everything out of it,
Mm-hmm. And then replace things.
And then replace it. And then do the next room. You have to move things from that room back into the room that you just made pretty. So we're in the process of doing that. And it's so fun. She's loving it. We're lighting candles. We might build a fire because she has a wood burning fireplace. She's loving it. We are too. We're enjoying doing it.
That's wonderful. What's the weather like right now?
The weather is chilly for them. We didn't have a whole lot of sun today. It was about 20 Celsius, and it will probably get back down to about 13 Celsius. Yeah, Ooh. These are all the new Celsiuses and kilometers and kilomiles and all the things.
Kilometers, yes. We're working on it.
I'm trying
you
to figure
American
it all
lady.
Trying to figure it out. No, it was probably high 60s today, and
mm-hmm.
It's gonna probably go a little bit chilly tonight. So
yeah,
it's
so maybe that would be a perfect time for a fireplace.
Yeah, in fact, we were driving around the island today. We had to go to the grocery and pick up a few things, and she gets her eggs at certain places, and some of the restaurants are closing. All of their, it's winter here, and they don't get a lot of tourists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll close. So a lot of places we saw today is yep, we're closed for the winter.
Wow.
But our favorite place, Manoli's, closes Sunday. So we were there last night. And we'll go again one more time before he closes. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Island life.
Island life. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So shall we move into the transits?
Yeah, it's a short week, although it's a big week in the United States of America, which then equals very big day for the world.
Mm-hmm.
And how the United States flows.
Yes. So let's start off with Monday today, November 4th, Sun, trine, Saturn retrograde.
Yeah, whenever we hear trine again from the sun, that planet is about to move in a different direction. So we know that Saturn's been retrograde for the last 4 months, and now he's getting ready to move forward. He hasn't yet, but it gives us our switcheroo. It's the time for us to make that adjustment. So it's always our sign that Saturn is preparing to move ahead. So he's packing his bags. He's leaving where he has been unpacked for a while. So I hope you treated him well. And if so, he did his job. Grasp all that you did in the last 5 months and put it to use.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn is the planet that does say, what have you if I used it we're doing a lot of monastery work here, and not work, but visits. And we talk about all the religions here as well. And, the Catholic religion goes through what's called the Lent period of restricting yourself or focusing on something that gives
giving
you
up a sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah. And so anytime Saturn retrogrades, it's kind of, what are you going to give up? What are you sacrificing in order to do something, gain something of intelligence? Or, I remember a couple years when I lost a lot of weight. I didn't. In fact, this time I gained weight because I'm in Greece and Italy, right? And Egypt. But what have you been doing for the last 5 months that you now can put into use? It's kind of like, taking your hand, huffing on your fingers and shining your lapel. It's kind of, what have you done that you get to be proud of? I mean, it's a sun trine Saturn. It's a trine, and it's coming through the water area of the sun is in Scorpio and Saturn is in Pisces. So it's about a feel, that emotional pool of, I've done something very important the last 5 months, and I'm very proud of myself. Something like that.
Okay. The Switcheroo.
Yeah.
November 5th, Tuesday, there is no astrological transit, but we're just jumping in here to say, go out and vote. It's election day.
Vote. I mean, the moon is making a square to Neptune, pretty tight. But that's a moon aspect, which we usually don't talk about. But hey, catch that. Susan Goodell and I on Patreon did an election day and inauguration day webinar. Is that on our website for people to go over and get?
It's not on the website, but if they head over to Patreon, Chatting with the Stars, they will be able to join in and watch it.
Okay. Yeah. So wish us all luck. Wish all United States residents a beautiful day of safety and calmness, and where we all can somewhat see others' differences. And I know we all want to have our candidate win, but that's not always the case.
Right.
It's not always the case. So we pray.
It's just our democracy, and we all get to share and express what we want for the future. And that's where we live, and that's wonderful. So go out and vote.
Go out and vote. That certainly beats your anger, if there would be any, at the end of the day, because you didn't get your person.
So, right, or you didn't get your say.
Yeah.
All right,
you have a say in it. Yeah.
So let's move over to the last transit of this week. It's a short astrological week. Saturday, November 9th, Venus square Neptune retrograde.
Yeah, now Venus has moved into a spot to Venus is in Scorpio. Venus is in Sagittarius, making that square to Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So there's a reception here. And this is toward the late degrees. This is 27 degrees. Now, interesting. And I call this Jupiter, where are you? You need some help. Because, Jupiter rules both Sagittarius, where Venus is, and also rules Pisces. Jupiter also rules Pisces, where Neptune is. So it's really up to, they're both looking toward Jupiter to give them each their kind of leg up, if you will. So please give us knowledge, give us wisdom to succeed. Things are promising as they change from the 27, 28, 29 boom. It's going to change when Venus moves into the next sign, which is Capricorn. So, does this have any influence on, because our election day is Tuesday. It just looks like Saturday it's a square. So it's kind of like we need some, there could be some untrue comments coming because we got Venus square Neptune. So it could have some illusion, delusion, some things not being honest or truthful. But we need to rely on Jupiter, who could be the judge in so many cases, needs to be what is wise, what is true, what is the true knowledge of these situations. And that will be the success of that.
Right. And if Jupiter can help get a bird's eye view or a higher perspective would be helpful.
Yeah.
So Jupiter, where are you?
Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter's retrograde in Gemini. So, I don't know. Jupiter's going to want to see, both sides of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
It'll be an interesting lead up, I think, from Tuesday to Saturday.
Yep. All right. So remember, you can follow along with these transits personally. Download your natal chart at intentionbeads.com/chart. And you can do your own chart there. You can do your friends' charts. And if there are anything, like if we give you a degree of a planet in a sign, that's when you can be looking in your own chart for those degrees, planets, and signs. So next up, we want to discuss something big on the horizon, which is our 2025 Mexico retreat happening in a couple of months in January.
2025, holy
it's
moly.
Coming. Can we believe it? So this is going to be a unique retreat for our retreats in general and also Mexico. We are bringing in a human design practitioner. So she's coming in and teaching the basics of human design. So what is really cool is that there's so many overlap with human design and astrology. And so we're going to be bringing the basics of astrology, the basics of human design, and really blending those in together and, see how they fit and how they fit with all the attendees.
Right. So we're doing that on everybody's chart. I think, whether it's your profile or your authority or, how people get along in how you answer a question, how you get your motivation, what's your motivation. It's quite interesting. And, you and I've been sitting next to some people that have taught human design, and I just think it's great. Christine Flowers is our special guest.
Yes.
And so she's so brilliant, she's so bright, she's so easy to understand. Actually, we did an interview with her at one of the episodes. I can't remember, but if you're interested in that, go back and listen to what that's about and sign up. So go to our intentionbeads.com/retreats. And you're going to see the dates, which are January 4th through January 11th. And it's our first 2025 retreat. And it's to Casa Tara Resort and Spa in La Ventana, Mexico, which is in the Baja Handle. And it's where we go every year. And it's so cocooning there and so brilliant, and pescatarian food, and you fly into Cabo. It's super easy to get to. It is definitely the easiest retreat we do.
Yes.
As far as travel.
And the episode number is 313. And that's when we brought Christine Flowers on as our special guest. And we talked about what we're going to be teaching and a little bit of human design. She also went into a little bit of our own human design, me and your.
So come along, folks. There's room. We're starting to sell it. So go check it out. Hit that link right there. And
it is a really wonderful location and time for relaxation. We don't go outside of the retreat location more than a few times.
Well, actually, right now we're only going to the market.
Okay, so more than once. So you really get to hone in, you really get to spread your roots, you get to feel calm, you get to utilize the beautiful saltwater pool, the saltwater jacuzzi. You can walk down the stairs, down this beautiful bluff into the Sea of Cortez, do your sup boarding, snorkeling, swimming, sunbathing. It is such a beautiful location that this everything from the staff to the food to the rooms, it's just all fabulous. And we have gone how many years in a row?
This will be our 10th year.
Wow, this is wonderful.
And she's adding on, she's adding on a luxury part on the other side of the wall there that we've been watching for the last year. It was being built. Maybe it's ready. Although I think I like where we are in the original section.
I think it's much more luxurious because the other ones are luxury yurts, which
she's got luxury yurts and a luxury building going up.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I know she's doing it, man.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any questions and want to learn more about the Mexico retreat, you can either go to the retreat page or, of course, email us, alex@intentionbeads.com. All right. Are we ready for our house? Because I have a big announcement. I guess I'll just come out and say it. I'm engaged. After 6 years of being together with the love of my life, after the Greece retreat, we went to a few Grecian islands, and on one of them, Naxos, is when he asked me, and I said yes. It was wonderful. It was such a beautiful experience.
I know he's such good at planning. I don't even know if you know that he contacted me in advance.
He did tell me that. Yeah.
After though, he asked you.
Oh, yeah.
No. He told you that he asked me after he asked you to marry him, right?
No.
He told you before. I called your mom to ask her.
Oh, no, he told me after he asked me that he had already talked to you and asked you.
Right.
I think you were saying that wrong. He didn't ask you after he asked me.
No. I said,
okay.
I was clarifying that. Did you know? Because we haven't heard.
No, I had no idea.
We hardly have had any conversation around this.
Minimal, yes. It's been a whirlwind because you went off to the Egypt retreat. I went off to my personal, engagement retreat that I had no idea about. And yeah, so we haven't had a whole lot of time to catch up. But basically, I'll share the story here. We had just arrived into Naxos on a ferry, and right by the station or the port, there is the Porta, which is the Temple of Apollo. And it's this kind of like door frame looking thing that is, ancient in nature, and it was the Temple of Apollo, and there's all these ruins left, but the doorway is still there, which is very cool and also a very symbolic thing. And so when we were getting into our cab to get to our hotel, the driver said, "Oh, that's the Temple of Apollo. You must go there during sunset." And however, Rocco already had all of this planned, but he goes, "Oh yeah, great idea. We're going to go there during sunset." And so I was like, "Wow, that looks beautiful. I would love to see it." And then for the next couple of days, he says, "What do you know about the Temple of Apollo?" And he would always kind of like ask me like, do I know anything about it? And I really didn't. So he started sharing the story of Dionysus and Ariadne, which, Mom, so much about it. And But he was doing so much research about the Temple of Apollo, and he came across this story of Dionysus and Ariadne, which Ariadne was like a human, beautiful human, but a little bit jaded in love, and Dionysus was a god who was the god of wine and joy and excitement and exploration and all of these things. And so they came together and they met at the Temple of Apollo, where she turned into a goddess, and she was, given a crown, and her memory and everything was forever written in the stars. I know I'm paraphrasing a whole lot with this story, but basically,
she has a crown. It's called Corona Borealis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so anyway, he's telling me all these stories about this temple that we're going to be seeing the following day. And we had rented an ATV in order to get over to that side of the island.
Oh.
And also in Mykonos, we had come across this really beautiful kind of like off-white dress that was so Grecian in nature. And it's this beautiful Grecian linen. And he said, oh, there's going to be a special day where, you can wear this. So fast forward to the day on October 10th, we were renting the ATV. Then we went to go get ready for dinner because we were going to go to the Temple of Apollo, go to dinner afterwards. And so that was kind of like the ploy, like, oh, let's dress up. We can take some pictures at the Temple of Apollo, and then we'll go out to dinner. And we're not shy at all to go and get dressed up or be overdressed,
No, you're not
at all. We really like to express ourselves through fashion and these types of things. So it didn't seem that out of the ordinary. Then when we got on the ATV, I had this like big white dress. He had his linen and his white shirt on. We jump on the back of the ATV.
Oh, you're still on the ATV?
Yeah, that was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the one day that we rented it. So we get on the ATV, and it was a little bit funny because it's like I'm like kind of dolled up, and I have this beautiful white dress on, and I'm like, okay, we're getting on an ATV. It was just going through the street, so it's not like there was like mud thrashing around. Right. And we headed over to the Temple of Apollo. As soon as we got off the ATV, he had his backpack, and he started playing on his speaker the playlist that we had started when we first met.
Oh.
And I started getting the feels, and I started getting emotional, like, oh, this is so sweet. So we start walking around, and he's like, oh, there's this really great spot that I've heard about that you can, look onto the Temple of Apollo, and you don't have to be around all the gourds of people. So we go and we find that spot. That's when he, out of his backpack, he pulls this golden box that he had made for me, maybe our first Christmas together. Mm. And that was that moment that it was just like 100%. I'm like, this is happening. This is happening right now. And he pulls it out, and he gives it to me. I open it up, and there's this big, beautifully written scroll that has an image of the Temple of Apollo, and it has this very beautiful, kind of like a trilogy type of like where these like three petals come together, and it was the Temple of Apollo, Dionysus, and Ariadne, and like this trifecta that comes together to this meeting point. And then on the next page, there was a long letter that he had written me, and he asked me to read it out loud. I was crying my eyes out, and I couldn't even. So I couldn't get the words out. So I go, you have to do it. So now he's crying. And we're just having this really wonderful, special moment. And it's, maybe taking a little bit longer because we're trying to get the words out. But I was so grateful for it because it was just so beautifully written. And the connection was out of this world, right? So he tells me to turn around and, kind of like make a wish as I'm looking out to the Temple of Apollo. And then And he says, open the box one more time. And there was another little piece of paper that had, some other things that were reminiscent of one of our trips to Bali. And it said, will you marry me? And then I turned around and he said, Alexandra Lang-Reevy, would you do me the honor of marrying me? And I was like, that is the easiest yes, absolutely. And I'm starting to cry now. Yeah. And he pulled open the ring and it was absolutely beautiful. And yes, it was an amazing moment that I will cherish for the rest of my life. And these are happy tears, by the way. I guess I have to preface that. And yeah, it was absolutely spectacular. I felt like it was just surreal and absolutely breathtaking. And then all of a sudden, out of, left field comes the photographer that had been scouted out and watching us and taking all these beautiful pictures. I mean, the ones of the proposal are the funniest one because I am just bawling my eyes out.
So you got those back?
No, I haven't gotten those back yet, but I just know. But she did give us some of the pictures that came after that, because we were posing in front of the Temple of Apollo. He had planned for me to have a beautiful bouquet and a crown like the Corona Borealis, and he also had a crown like Dionysus, which was all wine leaves. So it was just very cool that this mythical story of this trilogy, comes together at this meeting point. And it was also written in the stars, and it was just so beautiful. And there was just, he nailed it. He killed it. The pictures came out absolutely stunning. We need to write our own romance novel now because we have the cover page. And so I'll share a few of these in the show notes for everyone to see. Yay. And it was an absolutely magical moment that I really will cherish for the rest of my life.
That's so beautiful.
I got through it. I got through reminiscing about this story, and I wind up getting teary-eyed because it was just so special and so thought out and so well planned. It was so good. And
it's true love. You two are right there. You're so connected in that love for one another.
Yeah. And then honestly, we just called, all our close family and friends, and those were the only ones that knew for quite a few days. And we have yet to make an official announcement on social media because we've really just been in this place of our little bubble. And it's been so good, and it's been so wonderful that we are excited to share with the rest of the world. But, and here's my first step to record this podcast. But really it was, I really wouldn't have had it any other way. Well, I shouldn't say that because I would have had it anyway. But it was so special that it happened so perfectly. And it, even though the Temple of Apollo had a ton of people around when we were taking pictures later, we had this little outlook beach all by ourselves. Oh. And it was so private, and it was so intimate, and it was so wonderful that it was just the two of us. And it was fabulous. And then we got to call and share with our family and friends and see their faces of excitement and just, it's been wonderful. And ever since we've been back, we've been slowly telling people, and now we're at a point where we're okay, now, all the people we know and care about, they all have heard it from our side specifically now we can like launch it on social media and see what other people have to say. And
well, what you don't know,
yeah,
or maybe you do, but I didn't tell you, is that Rocco had asked me, he had texted me, hey, I need 45 minutes of your time, and we were on retreat in Amargos. And he says, but I don't want Alex to know that we're going to be talking. And so at some point we were done with our class and I went to the spa because they had a big outdoor space, at the spa.
Yep.
And I said, I'm ready. I've got a little bit of time now for the next half hour. And he called and he said, you probably know what I'm calling about. And I was like, I hope I think I do. And we had this really beautiful conversation. And so when we hung up, he told me he was going to propose on Naxos, right? But I know you were going to Mykonos first, right? And you were going to Ikaria before that. So it was like, I didn't know exactly what the date was.
Right.
So I texted him and I said, can you give me the date you're going to do this on, right? So he tells me the 10th. So now, weirdly, we are in Egypt on the retreat, and we go to a oil shop. First oil, and we're sitting down, and they give us our mango juice, and they're having us each smell these oils, and each of these oils entice something. And the first one he says, I want everybody to know about this royal lotus. It's called royal lotus oil, and it's the marriage oil. And he said it's couples put this on behind their ear on their marriage, which then recalls this elicits this day for all of them. And I'm like, I'm looking around to the other ladies, the other ladies that are there, and I'm like, I can't believe this is that he's talking about this on the 10th. And I said, excuse me, I have an announcement to make. My daughter's getting engaged today that she doesn't know. I don't know what the plan is, but sometime today, of course, everybody knows you, right?
Right.
And I said, Alex is getting engaged today. And all of them went like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. So I'm like, you can't tell her, you can't congratulate her yet.
No.
She don't even know yet. But because they were talking about this royal lotus oil. And so later that night, we're on a boat and we went to this Nubian restaurant, all by the Nubian food and brand new. We were the first people that are eating in this restaurant. It was outdoor. It's on an island. It's on an island. You have to take a boat to get there. And so everybody's like, have you heard yet? Have you heard yet? Have you heard yet? No. And finally, when you called, I'm like, oh, you guys, Alex is calling. They all got up from their chairs at the dining room table and stood behind me. Did you remember?
Yeah.
They're all standing behind me going, I'm like, hi, Alex. And you go, Mom, I'm engaged. And we're all standing behind us. Going, congratulations.
The crowd went wild. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was so great.
So anyway.
Such a special moment.
Yeah. So fun. So awesome. Just perfect. All right. Perfect. Well, more to come on that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess we have to end it here, but thank you everybody for listening in and tuning into our podcast. It is such a spectacular time that we get to spend here together with you. And thanks so much for listening. And we will see you all next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story